Battlers, how's it going? I hope everybody is having a fantastic day, of course. As you can see, for today's video, we are going to be doing some Ultra League in the Go Battle League. Ultra League was just barely released, basically yesterday-ish. I didn't actually get to end up doing my first battles, which you'll see here on today's upload, until late last night. And I've had quite a few picks prepared for Ultra League for the longest time. This is the hashtag Battlers channel, dude. We have lots of stuff ready, okay? Now, with the way that I utilize Crobat in the Ultra League, the moveset that you are going to want is Air Slash, Shadow Ball, and Sludge Bomb. I believe somebody commented as well, does it actually win against Swampert? I see it as a close loss. I mean, you know, if you're running simulations on Pokeball or PvPoke, just straight head-to-head, yeah, it's probably going to lose against Swampert, but in most situations, I'm not gonna find myself in a situation where I'm gonna lose against Swampert. You'll see, you'll be able to see. Crobat is kind of a flex pick. It is kind of spicy. It's gonna provide coverage some people might not see coming. So I urge you to, you know, at least look into it. If you have one ready to go, start using Crobat to see what you think about it. But I really like it. I really like Crobat in the Ultra League. Now, a few different things to consider about Crobat. Obviously, it's going to be taking super effective from Rock, from Ice, and it will also take super effective from Psychic. So let's go ahead and just get into the battle so I can, you know, showcase how I use it and why I like it. Battlers! Crobat, Steelix, and then Giratina. So against, what was it, Woody here. So as you can see, Woody opens up with the Swampert, I open up with the Crobat. I don't really feel too pressured to, you know, swap out because I know I can tank, what, 2 Hydro Cannons? There's one, and he's not doing much damage at all with the Mud Shot. He goes for another Hydro Cannon. I'm going to take it to the face, and I'm going to go for the Shadow Ball to see if he shields or does not shield. He does not shield, so that Swampert is super duper low on health, and he tries to Mud Shot down, and because of the Air Slash damage, I can then Air Slash down, and then we're going in blind to the next Pokemon's here. So he brings in the Machamp. I don't really like that. I come back in with the Giratina altered because I anchored with it, and he has the Typhlosion, okay? So the thing about Typhlosion, even with it running Shadow Claw, sure, the Shadow Claw is going to deal super effective to Giratina, but I'm going to stay in my investment with the Giratina with what I have so far because I know I need to. I know it's going to be very useful with the rest of his line for this battle. But for the most part, like, if you run a Typhlosion, that can also be very, very easy to take advantage of because the Shadow Claw is not going to be doing enough damage to where you can swap into it aggressively in a matchup like this and have it actually, you know, do a lot of considerable work against the Giratina. I think they made a mistake there. They went for the cross chop. I'm like, did you not have another move? So I'm like, you know what, maybe they're kind of bluffing. I don't know. Excuse me. But as you can see, now they went for the Rock Slide. So I'm like, okay, now I can come back in with the Steelix. You'll get a cross chop. And I already have access to the Earthquake at this point. So that's going to be GG's. The Steelix will Earthquake this Machamp into the Shadow Realm. And for this next battle against Stedophile here, from what you can see, I changed up my team a bit, not because I felt like the other one was bad, but I'm experimenting. You know, I wanna test as much as I can in Ultra League, in Go Battle League, to see what works for me and what doesn't. That's what most of us do all the time. That's why as creators make these videos too, right? So you can watch it and get some ideas, I guess. But I open up with the Mamoswine. The Ancient Power does land into the Zangoose. It's Gonzo. I do not get the boost, unfortunately, but I'm going to stay in, I believe. If I remember correctly, in this matchup, I decide to stay in because I'm not really... I want to keep putting on that pressure, I guess, of the Avalanche going into the Giratina. A note, too, while we're watching this battle. So at this point, when I'm recording this, I've actually opted to TM away the Community Day exclusive Ancient Power. I decided to keep Avalanche, but I TM Ancient Power away and I TM it to Bulldoze because I want that additional ground coverage. That's just what I've done at this point. If you run it differently, you know, you don't have to change it. That's just what I've done, okay? So they come, what was this, the Venu matchup? Yeah, I land the Sludge Bomb. The Venu is Gonzo. Now, if they have Ancient Power at this point, it's going to do a lot of damage, quite a bit of damage, but it looks like they just went for the Dragon Claw. So I'm able to build up a little bit more energy. It's another Dragon Claw, so satisfying the Shadow Ball hits this Giratina in the face, Shadow Ball to the dome, and it's Gonzo. GG's trainer. I went in with the same line. I didn't want to change anything. They open up with the Snorlax, okay? So Snorlax can be pretty difficult to face sometimes because he has such a versatile move pool available to him. Snorlax can have, for his charge moves, obviously pretty much everybody's going to be running Lick on a Snorlax, but you know, he has access to, like you saw there, he'll have Outrage, he will have Body Slam, he could have Heavy Slam, he could have Hyper Beam, he could have Earthquake, he could have Superpower. You can't really predict the Snorlax, so it can be a little tricky sometimes when they open with a Snorlax. It's pretty easy to bait with. I also really like Snorlax in the Ultra League, but that's for another video. I feel like that's going to be a really specific kind of in-depth video, which I don't usually do, but Snorlax demands it. Snorlax needs it because he's a beast. Now, they come in with the Cresselia. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go straight for the Avalanche to do what little damage I can against the Cresselia. And it obviously lands. We're at no shields this point on both sides. 0 shields for me, 0 shields for them. Now, I come back in with the Crobat, okay? So if they have Aurora Beam, that'll be super effective, but it looks like they opt to go for Moonblast. That's a Fairy-type charge move. I'm part poison, so I'm going to resist that. And then I Shadow Ball this Giratina to the dome. Going to deal the super effective, but obviously Giratina is a monster tank. It's going to be able to tank the Shadow Ball, so now I'm going to swap into my Giratina, kind of a counter swap. I don't want to say aggro swap, just kind of a counter swap, but I swap into mine. I'm going to overcharge as much energy as I possibly can because I know at this point they revealed that this Cresselia has Moonblast, which would be super effective to me since I am still part Dragon typing, right? That's a Fairy type charge move. So I am able to spam double Dragon Claw. I believe I reach one more. I believe this Dragon Claw TKOs actually. This might be the end of this battle. It is. Okay. No, it's not. Never mind. Cresselia hangs on with 1 HP. GG's trainer there. You saw the super effective Moonblast. All right, and for this next battle, yet again, I literally do not change my team. We're going up against Marksman here. I believe I actually lost against Marksman. He was my first loss, and this is what inspired me. I'm like, okay, he opened up with a Melmetal, which can have Rock Slide. Looks like apparently he does, which will deal a great considerable amount of damage to Mamoswine. Mamoswine's pretty squishy for the most part. He can't really take much, but if I had Bulldoze, this matchup would be a completely different situation. I'd be willing to, you know, invest probably both shields to see if I can either get both shields from them or TKO their Melmetal, but I can't. We're kind of in a rough spot. I'm going to have to come in with the Giratina at this point. I don't want to sacrifice my Crobat to their Melmetal, so I'm just going to come in and chunk away little bit by bit with the not very effective Dragon Claws. I feel like that's all I really can do. I guess I could have gone for the Ancient Powers to see if I can get my Shadow Claws boosted into the Melmetal, but you know, with how the battle was pacing at this point, and from what you can see so far, I didn't really feel like I needed to or like it was worth it. But now I swap into my Crobat because they're low enough. I should be able to farm down, and I invest the shield. And now they have the Swampert. They bring it out, so it's obviously going to throw a, apparently not a Hydro Cannon. That is Surf. Apparently they have a Surf Swampert for Ultra League. I'm not exactly sure what happened there. We'll probably play that back in slow motion, but you saw they reached their charge. They used their charge. Maybe they lagged out and they weren't able to hit any of their bubbles, but that Surf did no damage to me. I had no shields left. So, you know, trainer, if that was lag, I apologize. I didn't, you know, take advantage of the situation or anything. I guess it just happened the way it did. I'm sorry. It feels bad, man. But now they have this Haunch Crow. I'm like, okay, there's really nothing I can do. This is going to be a Dark Pulse. Dark Pulse will delete me with this. I'm going to have to come back in with the Crobat and pray I can reach the Sludge Bomb in time. And I did, but Haunch Crow is definitely going to have higher attack. They take the CMP tie and Dark Pulse me out of this century. GG's trainer. So I did change the comp again a little bit. I'm leading with Crobat this time. I will sandwich with Snorlax, and I'll still anchor with the Giratina. All right, now let's see what the lineup can do against Fleepter here. I'm really interested. I think I remember they opened up with the Charm. Okay, yes, they did. They opened up with Togekiss, so this is perfect. I love this. They swap out immediately, so they know their stuff. They swap into a Snorlax. I know at this point, this has definitely got to be a Body Slam. I won't shield it. I'm actually going to let it go through, and I believe I want to see if I can land a Sludge Bomb, if it's going to go shielded or not, because then I can aggro swap into my Snorlax. I don't know what they have in the backpack, but I know that they have Togekiss up front, so I want to see if I can get a clutch superpower, which we do. They don't shield, so their Snorlax is Gonzo. They're going to come back in with their Togekiss, but even with my attack and my defense debuff, Snorlax is still going to be able to do a lot of work, as you can see against the Togekiss here. I believe I shield once. Do I? No, I let it. Okay, I do shield once. I want to see if I can get at least one more body slam in against the Togekiss, or just get the shield, because Togekiss does not like that damage, right? Now I come back in again with the Crobat. I've had plenty of energy built up, so I'm going to go straight for the Shadow Ball, see if it lands in the Swampert's dome, which it does. The Swampert takes the damage. I know this matchup, we've played it already. At this point, I'm just going to let them Hydro Cannon down because I know their full team composition. I'm going to come in and I believe I dedicate to a complete farm down with the Shadow Claw, because I know they still have that Togekiss left, and I do not want to be matched up against the Togekiss. So I want to have as much energy as possible, and hopefully I can end up spamming 2 Ancient Powers back to back, and I think I do if I remember right, and that's what ends up giving me the win for the battle against this trainer. 1 Ancient Power, 2 Ancient Powers, man. Shout out to Team Ancient Power. Okay, here we go against 2S1H7CO. Again, I'm going to lead with Gyarados, sandwich with Lucario, and anchor with the Snorlax. They end up opening with the Steelix. This is why I say, you know, sometimes it might be okay to actually, you know, justify running Waterfall. And apparently that is a Thunderfang Steelix, okay? So I should have gotten the Gyarados out of there much faster than I did, but I wanted to, you know, farm up a little bit to try and play some mind games. They aggro swap into their Swampert, so obviously they do not have a fighter or even, you know, maybe a Snorlax of their own, which makes me think maybe they opt to have Giratina in the back. I don't know. We'll just have to see. But we're going for the body slam spam, putting on as much pressure as we can against their Swampert. I want to deal massive damage to the Swampert. I don't like Swampert. Get it out of here. At this point, you know, in retrospect, I think I probably would have been a little wiser in this battle specifically if I didn't use any shields. And then I came back in with the Gyarados, because I'm going to resist those Hydro Cannons and then, you know, see if I can land a clutch Hydro Pump against the Steelix or not. But I think it's fine either way, because we go for the superpower into the Steelix and it does successfully land. So now he's pressured to actually use his energy. He's got to use the energy, or I'm going to potentially be able to lick down, or they can Thunderfang down either way. But I come back in with Lucario. I counter down. That's Gonzo. Oh, I think I ended up taking the L because I was... I ended up being way too greedy, and I tried to bait way too much against the Giratina. I should have just gone straight for the Shadow Ball instead of trying to bait all the time. But you see, I swap into the Gyarados. They immediately Ancient Power it. So now I'm going for another bait. I'm like, please, use the shield. They still don't. I'm like, oh, well, it's over at this point. I do kind of like Lucario, but he's one of those picks where he's either going to win really hard or lose really hard. Even against a Giratina, you basically have to land that Shadow Ball. I think it could be interesting potentially to try and run a Bullet Punch Lucario. That seems like it could be a, you know, pretty fun idea. All right, looks like we're going in against the Baron 1. Now, the worst thing that could possibly happen, I feel like, when you lead with Blastoise is they lead with grass, right? If they lead with Venusaur, Sceptile, Meganium, anything with grass coverage, that's not going to be good news at all for Blastoise. Even against, you know, some of the electrics, I feel like he's going to be fine. He's going to definitely tank a Thunder Punch or two. He's not comfortably going to tank a Wild Charge, but he can. Okay, that's the point. He can do it. Now, I have definitely the advantage at this point. They opened... I guess this was all kind of contingent upon how we opened. I'd see people leading with Swampert left and right, and that's why I run this line the way that I do. So I'll have different options to counter the Giratina, and I'm just counting on the Blastoise lead being safe, okay? And for the most part, Snorlax can be kind of a safe swap too. Again, the worst thing that could happen there is if they actually bring a fighter, and fighters can be really easy to take advantage of in the Ultra League meta. So he's going for the Hydro Cannon pressure. I do want to save the Snorlax, so I use the shields. I'm going to come back in with the Blasty Boy here, and I'm going to be able to get access to another Hydro Cannon, which will definitely be shield pressure into that Swampert. Good news, it looks like it was successful. They used their shield. I definitely will not be able to reach another Hydro Cannon before they do, unfortunately, because Mudshot is just so much better for energy gain than Water Gun, but that was not the point of how I played that. So now I'm going to come back in with the Snorlax, I believe, and I Body Slam spam into the Swampert, and that's going to get rid of that threat. And then at this point, it kind of depends on what they have in the back, right? Go Battle League. What do you have in the back? Hopefully we caught a Dragon Claw here. I think we did. That's not going to be very effective to Alolan Ninetales part Fairy typing. Now I can go straight, I'm just going to go straight Ice Beam into the Steelix, which is neutral since Steelix is ground and steel. Steel resists, but it's super effective to ground, so Ice Beam will be neutral. Do not go Dazzling Gleam or Psychic or Psyshock or anything like that to a Steelix. It's going to resist that with its steel typing. So the Steelix threat is essentially eliminated. I think they're going to win, you know, this actual matchup. Or no, maybe they don't. Okay, so I come back in with the Snorlax. It's pretty much GG's at this point. I hands down have the HP, the health, the energy advantage. GG's. All right, going in with these next battles, I believe these were the ones against Podgy Panda. Yep, there it is, Podgy Panda, shout out to you. But I led with the same line, it worked. I wanted to continue testing it to see if it could bring me more success, but Podgy Panda, being the savage, leads with the Venusaur, and that's what I don't want. So at this point, I'd rather swap into the A9 rather than Snorlax. I want to keep the Snorlax in the back so I can hopefully use him in the future, and he can be clutch if he needs to be. But they have the Swampert, so Swampert's still going to put on massive pressure to my A9. I do want to use at least one shield right now, and thankfully it wasn't Earthquake. They did not go for the double Hydro Cannon spam against me since I only had one shield left, and we were able to put on a little bit more pressure with the Ice Beam, and I have a successful quick and sneaky stack swap into my Snorlax, and I'm hoping that I can Water Gun down and then Ice Beam into the Venusaur. I'm pretty sure they shield. I don't remember for sure. Oh no, maybe they don't. So I think I land. Okay, they do. Podgy Panda does in fact shield the Ice Beam. So smart by shielding that. But now I'm kind of in a rough spot because I have no idea what moves this Venusaur is running. Obviously it's purified, so that's one thing to consider. Looks like it is a Sludge Bomb. Okay, so it'll hurt, but I'm not too worried about it because I know I'm going to be able to access my Body Slam pretty quick. And I do a quick sack swap. Not really sack swap. I do a quick swap into my Alolan Ninetales, and I go for the Ice Beam into the Venu, and we'll see what they have in the back. It is a Gengar. Complete savage. Gengar seems like a lot of fun for Ultra League, but it's so squishy at this point, and I have a Snorlax in the back, so that is a hard GG's indeed. Thank you very much, Podgy Panda. All right, and going into the next trainer here, the next battle, Shiratex. Again, I'm using the same line. Did not change anything. I believe I made a mistake on the swap here. Okay, so they open up with the Steelix. I got the Blasty Boy, so I'll have the advantage there in the lead. They swap into Giratina. Now, rather than swapping into my A9, I swapped into the Snorlax because I'm like, you know what? I'm kind of scared that they might actually just opt for an Ancient Power straight away. So yeah, in retrospect, I think it would have been better if I just went straight into the Alolan Ninetales rather than going into my Snorlax. I should have saved Snorlax, let Snorlax sit in the back so I can use him later, because this, you know, especially notice because that's a Dragon Breath Giratina, right? That is not Shadow Claw, so it's going to deal neutral, quick, heavy, massive damage from what you can see into my Snorlax, and Alolan Ninetales would have resisted every single one of those Dragon Breaths. So I do kind of regret the way I played that. I definitely played it wrong, but we'll just have to see what we can do for the rest of the battle against Shiratex here. So Giratina has a little bit of energy built up. I know I'm definitely going to have to take, I believe, another Dragon Claw, which I don't shield. Please don't. Oh, I do. Why? I should have saved that. I should have saved that. But I dedicate to the Water Gun down, which we land successfully, or we execute successfully, and we're able to get off, I believe, double Hydro Cannon spamming into this Cresselia, which Cresselia is also, you know, a tank. It is very tanky in the Ultra League, so I feel like I'm kind of in a rough spot. This isn't exactly where I want to be. It's not ideal. He's able to, unfortunately, Psycho Cut down with the Snorlax, and I decide, you know what, I want you to just use your energy so that I'm not going to take massive damage for no reason into my A9 since I still have it in the back. Unfortunately, we are going to take a charge move here, and I mean, that's pretty much GG's. It definitely was a huge misplay. If I had saved the Snorlax for the Cresselia and used the A9 against the Giratina, I definitely think I would have won this match, but it is what it is, right? You learn from your mistakes. Hashtag losers learn. So we definitely will not be making that same mistake in the future if we continue to test and to run this line. Don't do that. If you have the A9 and it's a Dragon Breath Giratina, just swap into the A9, okay? GG's. All right, and for this next battle, apparently I decided to get a little spicy, to get a little saucy with it. We open up with the Weavile, we sandwich the Blastoise, the same one, and then we are gonna anchor with the Giratina Alter. Now, let's get to the battle here, which it looks like we get matched up against somebody. It is Susan we get matched up against. So I do, again, open with the Weavile. It worked out perfectly, complete luck with that, but I do have, again, Snarl and Avalanche, so I'm going to access these Avalanches very quickly, and obviously it's going to either deal massive damage or force shields from that Giratina. You saw how much one unshielded Avalanche did. That was huge. It was insane. So they need to shield at this point or their Giratina is gonzo. TKOFTW. Now, they kind of have pressure that they can put on as well too, but I'm like, you know what? I might be able to actually just snarl down at this point and then have the Avalanche for whatever comes in next, and it looks like I did. So I throw the Avalanche right away. It looks like, unfortunately, it is a Poliwrath, but they decide to shield anyway. I don't think they should have. Poliwrath would resist that, but now it is 0 shields to 0 shields. So I come in with the Blasty Boy. If they have Dynamic Punch, it's still not good news for me because I have nothing neutral or super effective that I can throw at the Poliwrath, unfortunately. And they do a successful sack swap, or not a sack swap. They swap to catch my Hydro Cannon, so I wasted that energy into their Meganium. Meganium is obviously going to resist that, not very effective, but now it's kind of interesting, right? So now I can come in with the Giratina, I throw the Ancient Power into the Meganium. Really, I'm just hoping that I can get boosted because if I don't have to, I don't want to have to take, an Ice Punch from the Poliwrath, or at least what I'm hoping at this point is that I can land more damage than I would have otherwise into the Poliwrath, and it looks like, unfortunately, I did not, because they already had the Ice Punch good to go, but at least I'm able to get one Dragon Claw into the Poliwrath before it's done for, and then it's going to go down pretty quick. Ooh, no, I take it back, because the Mudshot's not going to TKO me. I'm going to be able to access the Dragon Claw, and I believe this was an Ice Punch that I catch, which at this point basically gave me the win, because now this Poliwrath is in TKO range for Hydro Cannon. If the Hydro Cannon does not TKO all by itself, then the Water Gun will. GG's trainer. So battlers, thank you very much for watching my first Ultra League video for Go Battle League. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like, it helps a lot. And as always, subscribe if you feel my vibe, and power punch the notification bell for all that PvP content. That's it for this video. We will see you in the next video tomorrow. Battlers, have a good stinking day, man.